I guess Morgana and Futaba didn't feel like sharing their secret techniques of finding out the space station effortlessly with the rest of the group this time. The group goes in.
I forgot.
To the palace, sees Sai's shadow, and she taunts them by asking them to follow her to the higher floors of the casino, which they can't do without a membership card. Then they leave to prepare to tackle the palace next time. This is a thing that happens on every palace. There's always a day where the Phantom Thieves go to scope out the place before they really go in after the treasure, but it doesn't work well in this case. Usually they go into the palace, it's someone's first time awakening, or the palace owner ramps up the security a lot when they first see the intruders, so that makes sense that they would want to back off. But in the casino, Sai's shadow literally asks the group to follow her up, and they all decide to back off and go in on another day with seemingly no reason. I want it to be clear.
Didn't he just say they needed a membership card or something?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it is, but reconnaissance, you need a membership card. You don't want to just rush in. There's reasons. I mean, it's not, but even still, not game breaking.
Here, so no one misses the point that I think this is a terrible thing in every single palace because it's just a massive pace breaker. But in this case,
it's not a pace breaker. You said most of the time there's reasons. Somebody awakened, you don't want to keep rushing through the dungeon while they're all tired and crap, or they ramped up security. So, hey, we got to back off and figure out how to tackle this.
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't want to rush in with people being tired. It shows that it's a physical drain when they awaken their persona. Yeah.
It is noticeably more annoying and out of place. As for the dungeon itself, it is a return to form when it comes to aesthetics. Everything about this dungeon design makes for an incredible setting. It's in a casino, the colors are vibrant, playing cards are raining down non-stop, and every area has a unique touch given to it to make it stand out from the others. For example, the second floor of the palace has two paths which you could take from the lobby. The hallway to the left has large statues of dice in front of it, and the area to the right has slot machines to signify what each area has. The dice game area has giant dice used as decorations all around the room, and the walls behind the dealers are made up of giant glowing dice. The slot machine area has a giant spinning sign and statues to break up the monotony.
It's almost like a casino is going to have a lot more stuff in it than a museum.
Or a pyramid.
To break up the monotony of the slot machines, and the main set piece is one giant slot machine. Even the maintenance hallways have their own charm. The walls are plastered with posters, slogans, and graffiti, and playing cards are strewn around the floor. Some of the persona choices here are weird, but many of them, like Scotty, Queen Mad, and Valkyrie, are powerful women that fit one of Sai's reasons for her distorted desires, the view that she needs to work harder in order.
Really?
Can we just go back to the other ones and go, oh, they're powerful men, and just make that connection? If you're just making such a lazy, dumb connection
to get promoted in a male-dominated field and society. The only bummer here is the music. Whims of Fate, which is a good song on its own, and it's probably one of, if not my favorite track in the whole game, loops for the entirety of this dungeon, which is one of the longer ones, making the vocals become incredibly graining by the end.
Oh, no, that is a banger from minute 1 to minute 100.
I will listen to Whims of Fate for 40 hours straight.
It's a really good song.
I'm not accepting this.
Making the vocals become incredibly graining by the end. The song is the same for the entire way through the dungeon, unlike other palaces which featured remixes the deeper you get. So I hope you really like the vocals here, because you're going to become really sick of the song by the end.
Who are you speaking to about this? Hope you like it? Yes, I do. But I didn't get sick from it.
So
that's an opinion, homie. That's you. Don't thrust your opinions on me.
The objective of this dungeon is to get to the top floor, and you do this by earning enough chips on each floor to be allowed to head to the next one, and you repeat this process until you get all the way to the top. The first floor is pretty straightforward. You just navigate some hallways so you can make yourself a member's card. The second floor is where things really start, and you have to play the dice games and the slot machines in order to earn enough chips to advance. Since it's a casino, you figure out that all the games are rigged, so all you really have to do is find a way to the back room where the odds are handled so Futaba can change them. Then you go and play the games to immediately earn all the chips you need. One strange thing here is that every time you make it to the back room of an area to make the odds fair, Akechi is the one who suggests that instead of making it fair, that they should just fix it in their favor so you could win easily. Haru actually pushes back on this and says that cheating is wrong, and Makoto seems to agree with her, only accepting to cheat because they have to work quickly. This is a fake casino in Sai's head with odds rigged against them, and the chips have no real world value.
It's not about winning, it's about their own moral compass. Hey, cheating feels wrong here.
And also, if they catch them cheating, security could go up, they could be thrown out. They don't want to push their luck too much.
Since they're in the metaverse, but for some reason cheating would still be bad here, according to them. Hell, they're called the Phantom Thieves.
Okay, go ahead.
Can they just murder if it's not real people?
I was thinking the same thing. If you're in a dream and you realize it's a dream, can you just go around slashing throats like, oh, there's no consequences here, so who cares? Or are you just going to be like, I still don't really want to do that?
Yeah. Haru's just like, I want to beat them by showing that I'm better, not better at cheating. It's you can cheat, but I can just be better. It's a whole thing. It makes sense.
So shouldn't stealing from the house be natural? Akechi is painted as someone who is unscrupulous for this when it should just be common sense. None of this is real in the first place, so why does it matter if they cheat? This scene actually...
Because it's who they are. They don't want to be cheaters. They don't want to take a shortcut and just breeze through this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you never know, this is a slippery slope argument, and I am not a fan of slippery slope arguments. But who's to say the next time they face a hardship and they have the opportunity to cheat, they don't just go, why not cheat? Why not? What's the real harm
it's
here?
It's not real here, so we can just do whatever.
happens twice, one for the dice games and one for the slot machines, which is completely unnecessary. After cheating both of those games and getting to the next floor, they're met with a barrier that they can't get past. This comes right after the big moment of rigging the giant slot machine to bring the dungeon to a screeching halt. But Makoto figures out that it's something to do.
How's it bringing the dungeon to the halt if they still can't progress? Or is that why it's brought to a screeching?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I don't know if he means that because they won the coins, the dungeon is at a screeching halt, or because they can no longer progress. I don't know.
Yeah.
With Sai's cognition. This is the third and last time this mechanic is being used in the game, and here once again stops your progress and forces you to go back to the real world. Akechi says that it must be a place only authorized personnel are given access to, and tells you it's probably the courtroom, so Makoto says that it will be easy to bypass since they just need to attend a trial. Akechi says that he can tell you when Sai will be attending a trial so you can go there, but this raises the question why the barrier blocking them off from the rest of the floor is up for Akechi as well. He works with Sai, and they are shown talking on the job often.
It's her cognition, not granting access to the people. She needs to, in her mind, see, oh, this place that's only authorized personnel, just regular old people can come up in here. So then her cognition can open up and they can progress. It's not about, oh, you Makoto are here, so you are giving access. It's about the perception.
And even if it was Akechi was allowed, nobody else would be allowed through, so it'd just be him. So thus making it completely irrelevant that he can go through by himself.
But he's never seen her in the courtroom before? Sure.
Where are you getting this from? Legitimately. Legit. Where are you going? Where did Akechi ever say, hey, I've never seen her at a trial before?
Whatever. I don't care anymore. The scene where the Phantom Thieves
But you don't care anymore, but you got an hour and a half left. And you're gonna keep droning.
Droning!
is only 2 minutes long, so it makes the whole diversion even more worthless. But it also somehow...
It's only 2 minutes long for us! Who knows how long they're there?
Yeah.
Questions. All of your group just walks into the courtroom to watch Sai be a prosecutor for a case that she is...
A lot of trials are open to the public!
Yes. Why is this a problem? Are we supposed to be showing them going through security, having their bags searched, going up elevators and escalators?
Being told to wait outside the courtroom while they speak to the people, and then everybody can come in?
Come on!
Been working on before the Phantom Thieves became her priority, because even though she stresses multiple times that she can't afford to not catch the Phantom Thieves and that her entire career is riding on this, she also insists on not passing off unrelated cases to someone else, because
it's her job!
Job!
If they say, hey, Sai, you're taking this case, okay.
And you just said it was 2 minutes. If you're going in 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes out of her day. What's the problem?
just how determined she is to prove her worth.
This is what I'm saying. Do you think a police officer or a detective in this case goes, "Oh, you have this case. I can't work the case you're trying to give me, boss, because I'm working that other case." Is that how you think this works?
Boss, I'm not gonna do it. What happened with Oya when that happened? Oh, she got bumped down to entertainment.
Unrelated case to someone else, because this is just how determined she is to prove her worth and capability. And it makes no sense that the courtroom would even be locked in her palace, because your crew just walks in with no problem whatsoever. It's not like Akechi pulled strings to get you into the courtroom or anything either, because when Sai notices
Okay, I'm gonna actually read that. This line is strictly for finding out when she will be in the courtroom. Yes, it's an open trial. The perception is this is her sanctuary and limited people can get in. But people can just get in.
Easy.
And she needs to be able to see that anybody could just come in.
Easy.
Because when Sai notices Makoto and all the others, she barely reacts at all, and plenty of other...
That doesn't matter for now. Looks away sadly. That doesn't matter for now. Looks away sadly.
And plenty of other people are also in the room just watching the case. So it's not...
Are they part of the trial? We don't know who they are.
Oh. What is this argument? Legitimately.
Restricted area. In the courtroom, you could even see Morgana is still in your bag because he pops out of it for a bit. So the courtroom...
Yeah, they definitely should have checked that bag. That's not... But again, this is a hyper-realized game. Who
doesn't even have basic security bag checks or anything. Since if there was, there would definitely...
Okay, you're making this too much of a deal.
Yeah. No.
It's a hyper-realized game.
What's the difference if Morgana is there or if he's not? He could have snuck in. Who cares? Who legit cares? You said you didn't care.
Yeah, he could have went through a vent and then jumped back in your bag once it was... anything could have happened.
Yeah,
this is too much for this.
This does not break the game. This is irrelevant.
Here's the thing. This does not matter.
Be no way a wild animal was getting inside. It feels like the developers wanted to add this scene to make you stop.
Pause. There's also things called emotional support animals that you can bring on planes and things of that nature. So, stands to reason.
Alice to raise the tension, and then remember that they had used this trick before, but it's such a waste of time. At least for Madarama.
Everything is a waste of time. What if people just like this mechanic?
The locked off area was behind a padlocked room in his house that he never allowed anybody but himself to ever enter. And in Futaba's palace, the locked area was her room, which she did not allow anyone to enter, not even Sojiro. To get into Madarame's room, they had to pick the lock on the door and rush in before they got caught. And Futaba had to allow them in.
Okay, here's the thing with Futaba. Has nobody else ever went into her room? Because if a single person that she knows has ever went into her room, in her mind, it should not still be locked.
Yeah, but you know, it's a Cvit argument.
To her room after some convincing, but kept herself locked in the closet the whole time. These were important events. Here, it's like they needed the locked off area and they just half-assed a reason for it and said it was the courtroom despite it being open to the public and having no security at all, and there being no reason for Sai to not think that they could enter it and locking it in her palace. Back in the palace now we have access to a high limit floor, which is sadly far weaker than the floors before. The two events here that we need to complete for more chips is a series of battles in an arena, which while a bit generic kind of makes sense considering this is supposed to be a courtroom, so you can interpret this as a prosecutor versus the defense.
Oh, it looks like you generic? It looks like you need to change your big fist monkey team because y'all keep blocking each other. What's going on? It would be real useful to have that character switch in person now, huh? That was totally useless, huh?
That one is just Joker by himself.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Anyway.
While a bit generic kind of makes sense considering this is supposed to be a courtroom, so you can interpret this as a prosecutor versus the defense. But the second event is a dark maze. It's just a large area which is pitch black because they turned off all the lights and you have to use Joker vision the entire time to see anything and figure out where to go while fighting off enemies on the way. And then at the end of the maze you have to fight.
Why isn't he complaining about the constant vases that you need to break, like with Futaba?
Yeah, I don't know.
What
This area is the odd one out of this palace, since it has nothing to do with gambling and betting money, and it also doesn't fit the theme of the courthouse that the casino is based on. I honestly have no idea what this maze with no lights is supposed to mirror and
I don't know either. I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark. It's to take a shot in the dark. Prosecutors and defenders do that sometimes. But again, this is just me thinking this at this very moment. I'm sure given time, I could probably find a reason what...
Yeah, I'm sure somebody in the comments will bring up something and be like, yeah, no, that
Oh,
makes
bro,
sense.
they've been killing it.
Yeah, killing him.
Oh, I can't wait because I can finally start watching manga comment stuff. Because I ain't want to spoil myself.
Yeah.
present in a courthouse. After making your way through both of these challenges, you have 100,000 chips, which is enough to activate the bridge to get to where Sai is. But as you're about to activate it, she comes in and tells you that you're supposed to lose, and she raises the cost of the bridge to 1 million chips. Your team starts to despair, but Akechi comes in and reveals that he used his big genius brain to collect over 900,000 chips by betting on Joker during the arena with the other ID card that they left at the very beginning, which he decided that might come useful later and took it with him. And betting on him earned him 460,000 chips, and then borrowed another 460,000. Obviously, everyone on your team is stupid and worries that paying back the borrowed money before Akechi reminds them that, again, this is just a palace and not real life, so they don't have to pay back.
Who is everybody? Is it dumb Ryuji that said that? The dumb guy?
And also, by this time, they knew that Akechi was full of crap, so they're tricking him, making him seem a bit big-headed, and then lowering his guard.
Anything once they have the treasure, and the palace disappears. Sai's shadow is taken aback and retreats to the higher floors.
And
This makes me
also,
wonder why didn't
she
raise-
put up a barrier, and they're bypassing it, so they're going, what if there's consequences of us not, what if she goes up to, we go up to the room with the treasure, and she just goes, all right, now you got to pay it back before you can get into the room. What then? They're thinking about those sorts of things.
Why didn't she just raise the price of the bridge again to be even more? She had no problem to increase it tenfold after you got 100,000, so why not just raise it to...
Maybe that was already in place. Maybe she had already done the thing she needed to do to put that into place, as opposed to just going, hey, you're here, well, it's 1 million now.
10 million to keep stopping you. If she's gonna let you pass with 1 million, why did she even bother to raise the price in the first place? And actually, if she...
Wasn't it from the very beginning that you needed 100,000? And at some point, maybe she thought, what's up?
Hence, I will emerge victorious. She's thinking that no matter what, I'm still gonna win. So, doesn't really matter.
Raise the price in the first place. And actually, if she wanted to raise the price so you couldn't get to her, why not just make it some astronomical high number that is unreasonable that they couldn't pay, like 10 billion coins? So many questions, but none which get answered as usual.
None which matters.
She perceived it as being completely rigged, so they're not even gonna get 100,000. But on the off chance that they do, let's just raise it to 1 million.
And if she did raise it to 10 billion, they could just go, okay, well, I did this thing and we did this thing and now we have 10 billion coins.
Yeah.
The game needs to progress, dude. And no matter what, the game will progress. Even if she says 10 billion, they will find a way to either rig this part of the bridge to go, nah, it's back to the original 100,000 or whatever.
Or fly across the bridge, whatever they gotta do.
Or
We need
earn
to
the 10 billion coins.
We need to get over there.
And we're gonna find a way regardless.
This whole ordeal, you get to the treasure, and you're finally ready to send the calling card and steal her heart. In the meeting, when you decide to send the calling card, there's an unintentionally funny moment where both Akechi and Makoto say that they can deliver the calling card to Sai, and Akechi says that since you're the leader, it's up to you, but you can only go with Makoto's plan to deliver it herself. And you can only deliver on the day Akechi says to. Don't worry though, Makoto still is definitely not the leader. You're in total control of
Oh
Phantom.
my.
He has such a hate boner for her being the leader.
I don't know what his problem is.
And apparently this is a problem with other people. Cause I said this to manga comment. I honestly believe he just compiled a list of common complaints and then threw his own complaints on there. That's why the Sakamoto stuff makes sense when he himself is misrepresenting and mispronouncing names, because that's not really a problem with him, and he's just like linking a site and it's just like, oh, these are the translation errors and the misspelling and the mispronouncing, and he's just like, okay, well, that's from there. Here we go. And I think people's perception is that Makoto becomes leader and they hate it because of that, and he's just like, oh, that's what people think, okay, let me do that, and then add my own stuff. Like the Morgana stuff is totally his. He just hates Morgana.
I skimmed the first manga comment video because, you know, I didn't want to be spoiled and everything. But there is a point where he just goes, he compares what Cvit says to exactly what's on the website, and it's like he just rearranged some words, but it's basically just that.
The game shows a hazy scene that Joker can't seem to fully remember, where Morgana is explaining what is obviously a key part of the plan. This isn't the first time that this has happened. After the first meeting with Akechi at the school and in the attic at Leblanc, the game has shown us scenes that fade to white before any important information is said. Until now, the events of the game have been retelling what has happened by Joker to Sai, and the excuse given to why these events aren't being remembered clearly is that the true serum that Joker was given at the start of the game is making things hazy. This happens so at the end of the dungeon, the game can reveal its elaborate plan that was going on behind the scenes, except that
Why is that in quotes?
Yeah.
Joker should definitely know all of it, and the important scenes are omitted for the sake of the player.
No, he knows them, but he doesn't remember them fully. He remembers, oh, I talked to Futaba and Morgana about something, but what was it? He's holding his hand and shaking it. He can't exactly remember what it is. What is his job?
Because of the effects of the truth serum?
What is his job? It's to sit there and talk to Sai and then get shot and sit there in the room. That's his entire job. So it's not like he needs to remember this thing.
The excuse of the drugs messing with Joker's mind seems fine enough for the most part, but it falls apart when you realize the only events that the game doesn't show you are the exact moments that they explain the greater plan. And Joker has never had a problem remembering every single conversation he has had in the entire year the game has taken place.
This is a plot device.
Yeah, no, this isn't. This is just for the sake of the twist. Yes, absolutely. It's not bad. It's for the sake of the story. If it was just if you had walked out of the room the first time the Akechi scene happened and you went, "Hey, pancakes," he said it, you'd be like, "Oh, it's Akechi," even though it's fairly obvious that it's Akechi. You still need it's a story.
It's to help. It's to let the player figure out the thing on their own. Because you go, because that's when he said somebody was talking about pancakes. That's instantly where I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, it's him." Maybe it's just I don't know. I can see how someone would think that's bad.
Yeah.
Though.
Every single time he went to Fortnite Burger to take the Big Burger Challenge. It's a lazy way to create a mystery and set up a big reveal. The twist isn't exciting when you actively lied to the player about the reveal before it happened.
Pause. They did not actively lie. They omitted. That's a completely different thing. Second off, how would you improve this? Please tell me the way. You're just saying that it's bad. We try every time we go, this is bad, to go, here's how it can be better. Here's how things can be changed.
Just like with the power scaling thing, where it was just like this Krillin scene, I don't know why people hate it, and we tried to improve it in 3 different ways.
Here's a comparison of something that is better so that you can at least sort of compare and contrast. But you're just going, it's bad, it's contrived, moving on. How would you improve this?
Lazy, bad, contrived,
Too long, boring,
repetitive. You're just using these blanket words without going, hey, here's how to do better.
Yeah, it's not great, but improve it.
Anyways, after sending the call,
anyways,
come
okay.
to Sai's boss fight, which is the usual gimmick boss fight that you can't win until the game lets you. There's a mechanic where a roulette spins every once in a while.
I love it.
It is great. What caused Madarame to not be able to win until the game, quote unquote, lets you? Nothing. And you said it's the usual, so that breaks it down right there.
And I find it funny that he'll say something like the usual, and he'll and he's pointing out like literally every single thing, synopsises, blah 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 blah. But he just brushes over the usual, quote unquote. Because if it is the usual, you would have pointed it out and we would have been able to see it. Just like with the whole, you gotta leave and come back and open the door. He says this is the third time it's done it, and he shows the other 2 times that it happened. So aren't you showing the other times where the game doesn't allow you to progress in a boss fight until the game allows it? Maybe because it doesn't happen in every palace like you say it does. Maybe you're misrepresenting these boss fights.
Cvit misrepresenting something? No, absolutely not.
You know what? What was I thinking?
That one day thing still pisses me off.
Every once in a while that you have to bet on for a result. But obviously Sai is cheating and you need to expose her before you can win. After you deal with her cheating, Sai loses her composure and then transforms into her demon form. And it is by far the best one in the game. Every other demon transformation has been more on the goofy side and doesn't look very menacing. And in Kanashiro's case, it doesn't fit the rest of his dungeon. But when Sai snaps mid-fight and turns into a monster, it looks like it's something straight out of Silent Hill. She's heavily armored, covered in blood, and wielding a giant assortment of guns in one hand and a massive sword in the other, as she raves about how winning is all that matters and should be pursued with any method necessary. It contrasts the
Okay. What is that her perception of herself? Because I remember you saying Kanashiro was bad because that's how he perceived himself. So what is it about this that makes her perceive herself? Are you going to explain why this is a good thing because you like the design, and Kanashiro's is bad because you don't like the design? Even though it's not really how either one would perceive themselves, or it is, but it needs to be explained in his case because it's just like, it sucks. But it doesn't need to be explained in this case because thumbs up is good.
Yeah, no, she's a monster, and that's good. She looks, I like her, but that looks just fairly generic. Like you said, it looks like something out of Silent Hill, as opposed to Kamoshida, which is this big, giant, slovenly, horrible monster thing. This looks like something that you could recruit. This looks like a mini boss.
She looks like a cross between a Silent Hill villain and Penance from Marvel Comics. For anybody that doesn't know, yeah, this is from Civil War. Ricochet, there was this little group of people, a group of heroes, and they killed a bunch of kids because they were not recognizing how powerful a villain had become. And in order to what's the word I'm looking for? Repent. In order to repent, he became a new character, Penance, where he had a bunch of spikes outside and inside his costume, and the spikes inside his costume would constantly be stabbing him as he moves.
He actually does look like him.
Yeah! It's awful.
Wow, that sounds really bad.
Dude, it's awful! Penance was terrible.
I can see why I never heard of him.
Yeah, they changed it back like fairly quickly.
with any method necessary. It contrasts the calm and collected Sai we have usually seen up until now.
This is such the Fugo argument, where it's just like, inside you're the monster.
He's just making it good in any way he can.
Well, how much of a monster she is willing to become in her pursuit of justice. After the fight,
I really don't.
And prepares to leave, but a lot of people start entering the palace looking for them, and when Joker goes to act as a distraction, he gets caught and brought into...
Oh, wait, hold on. They didn't take her treasure?
They did not take her treasure, but you said that they did, sir. But
and then you even show that they don't.
Oh, whoops. Maybe make a better video.
Interrogation, which brings us to the current day, where Sai is hearing the events of the game. Here is where Joker starts remembering all the information that he had conveniently forgotten until the story caught up to the present day, and then asks Sai to show his phone to the traitor. Then you max out your bond with her, despite knowing almost nothing about her personally, and almost every scene.
You spent like 7 hours just talking back and forth with her.
Yeah, no, she trusts you now. She doesn't trust you, but she understands now. She understands that there's something going on, and it's slowly.
With her in the game is viewed from the perspective of Makoto at her house. The only real time you see her as Joker is when she's threatening Sojiro about Futaba during the start of
Pause.
Futaba.
Every time you rank up with her, you're talking to her in the present, and your final rank up is in the present. You're getting that back and forth. You're getting that trust. You're getting that relationship in the present as she's going, oh, okay, I understand this now. Oh, so you guys didn't kill that dude. Oh, so there's something else going on, and it ranks up.
She runs into Akechi as she leaves the room, shows him the phone, and Akechi walks into the interrogation room and shoots you to death, which also raises his bond with him. Akechi leaves and gets into an elevator and reveals in a conversation that he has been working with Shido this whole time, so that everything that has happened in your life could connect back to him, because of course it has to. No event could happen on its own in this world, because everything has to be connected back to this one guy who has orchestrated every single atrocity.
Didn't every palace happen on its own?
What did Shido have to do with Kanashiro?
Futaba.
Wait, it was just all it really is him framing Joker and Joker going to school, which I guess leads to everything else, but it makes sense that it would. Why are you acting like this is some big contrived thing?
That has happened in Japan currently, because why would you want to have a setting where it just shows how unfair life is?
They did 4 times.
Yes.
And then the 5th time, it was a orchestrated palace to frame Joker. The 6th time, it was Sai. And of course, Akechi's there guiding them through their bush, because he's in the back and he knows who they are and what they do.
Reality that being a hero and trying to help people is nothing more than a naive child's ideal.
No, it's not.
No,
you are just...
They've helped a bunch of people. They helped all their party members out of their horrible life situation. What are you talking about? We're constantly helping the social links.
This whole thing was a powerful person screwed somebody over, even though the person was in the right. So it's not about being a hero. It's just that they're showing you that there's injustice in the world where even if you do the right thing, a powerful person could be a piece of and ruin you.
And the story is all about adults being crappy and abusing their power. And this dude is almost should be the next prime minister of Japan. So he has the most power in Japan. This should have been some random dude. Absolutely not. No. Because he wouldn't have the power to frame Joker like this. He wouldn't have the power to go, hey woman, shut up or else. Because why else would she? The story would not progress without this dude having the power. The story would not happen without this dude having the power to cover it up and frame and all that stuff. It has to be a powerful person.
That a random person can just fuck you over for the rest of your life because
Yeah, a random powerful person absolutely can f you over for the rest of your life.
try to do the right thing and just show how powerless you actually are, so once you do get the power, you're able to mold the world into the way that you think is right and help the people who actually need it. But I guess that would be world building, and we don't want any of that now, do we?
Isn't that exactly what happened?
100%.
Okay, let's go all the way back and hear the entire thing, because maybe us pausing detracted from whatever he was talking about.
Setting where it just shows how...
Okay, let's go back even a little bit further.
Of course it has to. No event could happen on its own in this world because everything has to be connected back to this one guy who has orchestrated every single atrocity that has happened in Japan currently, because why would you want to have a setting where it just shows how unfair life is, reinforcing the reality that being a hero and trying to help people is nothing more than a naive child's ideal, that a random person can just fuck you over for the rest of your life because you tried to do the right thing, and just show how powerless you actually are, so once you do get the power, you're able to mold the world into the way that you think is right and help the people who actually need it. But I guess that would be world building, and we don't want any of that now, do we? Akechi says that the Phantom Thieves are done now since they...
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, no.
That's the story.
That's 100% the story. Life is unfair. Kamoshida, the one that you liked, he just goes, oh, you guys are screwing me over. No, I screw you over. And if they did not have the power to change it, they wouldn't have, and they would have all been kicked out of school, but they did. What you're arguing the story that happened. You're arguing that this story didn't happen when it literally did.
The only thing that he's thinking is that because of Shido, doing the last two palaces in Goro, it's like
and a couple mental shutdowns.
It's like he orchestrated literally everything in the game, as opposed to Kamoshida being a piece of
Madarame
being a piece of Kanashiro being a piece of
Futaba having her own little problems.
It's just like, oh, he orchestrated everything. So
He did not orchestrate Medjed, who was threatening to take down the Japanese economy. He went, oh, they did it, and they're bad because they did it. What are you talking about?
No backbone without Joker's guidance. Just wait until Makoto hears that one. Then we are treated to
cause she leader, Shim leader, him, them, she leader. Nobody gives a
He just has such an irrational hate boner against the leader thing and Morgana and Futaba. It's completely ridiculous. It's unwarranted.
scene of all the Phantom Thieves seeing the news that Joker has been caught and committed suicide, which everyone reacts with surprise to. And in Futaba's scene, we get to stare at her phone, which is untranslated, so we just get to look at Japanese characters, and then her computer screen, which is also untranslated. I guess they just didn't have the technology to actually subtitle this.
I hate his smug.
Yeah, that is bad. I really don't like that.
Yeah,
because this is kind of an undefendable point. So he's just like, as opposed to other ones.
Yeah, that one they definitely should have subtitled it at the very least.
Yeah.
And though anime has been doing this forever, but Ryuichi smiles right before it fades to black. After this, the game finally reveals the master plan to us by showing what the scenes that had been hidden before were. All of them were scenes where the crew discussed Akechi, revealing that they knew that he was a traitor all along, and they actually accounted for him joining them in their plans. In the school festival, Morgana brings up the fact that he was lying since they knew he heard them talking about pancakes earlier in the game. This is the only subtle part about this reveal, since it's an actual small detail that the players can pick up on. But the game still hides the confirmation from you until after the whole plan is already done.
Yeah, because otherwise the twist is less fun.
Yes.
With Goro coming up and shooting you. Could it have been done better? Sure. I don't think
offering anyway.
Yeah, but you're not offering any way that is better. I feel like there's no such thing as a story that couldn't have been done better. Like there's plot points or certain aspects of it that could not have been done better. And there are absolutely things in Persona 5 that could have been done better. But this isn't bad. It's just not as good as you wanted.
Yeah.
Scene is a meeting between Joker, Futaba, and Morgana, where they ask Futaba to plant a bug on Akechi's phone so they can listen to his conversations and record them. The third scene is the one we haven't seen before, where Futaba, Yusuke, and Makoto are setting up something in the interrogation room they know Joker's going to be brought to. Finally, we get to see the team meeting where Makoto, who's definitely still not the leader, explains that Akechi...
This is really making me angry now.
Yeah.
We get it! You want to put into people's... See, this is the thing. You slagged off Persona 5 for repeating itself so much because it's like the player is too stupid to recognize that such and such is going on, but you're acting like we're too stupid to realize you think Makoto's the leader.
Yes.
Stop saying this! We get it!
She was behind the killings the whole time, that he's going to bring a massive police force into the palace to capture Joker once you've gotten the treasure, and then comes up with a plan using the palace to their advantage to have Akechi kill Sai's cognitive Joker while thinking that they've killed the real one, so Sai can then sneak Joker out and bring him home. Back at Leblanc, everyone is together and the group explains exactly what happened to Sai and Sodro and the player, and the whole thing is long and convoluted. I'm not going to go into detail.
Absolutely convoluted. You're not going to go into details! Yeah. But we need the fourth and social link of the little arcade kid.
We need every single social link. We need to explain for him to explain all the social links and leave out some stuff, of course. But yeah, no, this one is just like
details, but the plan seems to stick to the rules that the game has set up so far.
It's just complicated. That's all it is. Which it has to be. Otherwise, you'd be like, oh, he just hopped into a room and then shot a blow up doll. If it wasn't complicated, it wouldn't have worked. It had to be
Convoluted. There's a difference.
Yeah, whatever.
things that stand out here though. Firstly, they talk about knowing that Akechi has been to the metaverse before because of the pancakes conversation from the TV station, but only people who have heard Morgana talk in the metaverse can understand him in real life. By this point, you've been to Kamoshida and Madarame's palace, and it's not likely that he would have seen them in Kamoshida's palace since that was their first act that put them on the map. But there's also no reason for him to have seen them in Madarame's palace since he couldn't possibly have known that they were going to target him next. Madarame's shadow mentions the Black Masked Man when they fight him too, but it also doesn't make sense for Akechi to meet with Madarame's shadow since he goes to the metaverse to kill people, and Madarame seems to be very much alive. The only option this leaves is that Akechi must have seen you the day that Morgana teaches you about mementos, since that's the only time you were forced to go into the metaverse other than the palace. The Phantom Thieves seem surprisingly chill about Akechi understanding Morgana, since that means that he's always been watching them in the metaverse, so they would have known that he was the killer since the start of the game. It's not great that the game also actively...
No, they wouldn't have known. Who knows when Joker and Morgana told them. When Akechi went to the school festival, that's the first time that they talked about it, because Morgana goes, "You realized it too, right? The pancake thing." So they had not talked about it until the end. So it makes sense that Joker had not talked about it to anybody else, because they would have brought it up to Morgana. So they didn't know that whole time. They were just wondering. As far as Akechi first seeing them in the metaverse, when and where, we don't know when he was sneaking around. He could have at any time just been like, okay, they're in there. Where are these 5 students? They're not anywhere that is traceable. Maybe they're in the metaverse or in a palace. They go there. All you need to hear is one line. You're done.
Not great that the game also actively lies to you and has Morgana and the other characters praise Akechi for his detective work even though they know he's going to betray them. Because
yes, and they have a plan against it. They have a direct counter plan. They need for him to believe them, otherwise their plan doesn't work. So they're gonna big him up as much as he can. Wow, Akechi, you're so smart. Why didn't we think about that? Thanks for getting us across this bridge. Whatever they need to do in order for getting to get into that room and shoot Joker for him to believe that Joker's dead. What?
Doesn't know yet, and the farce needs to be kept up for the big reveal. And if you actually did happen to pick up on the pancake line at the very beginning of the game, you're forced to sit through the entire game knowing that he's the killer.
Holy crap, you figured it out and now it's bad because you have to see them reveal it.
You figured something out and you're wrong for figuring it out. What should the game have done? Not because you said that it was a subtle thing that you liked before. So if you do figure it out, it's good for you. And now you go, okay, why is he doing this? What's going on here? What are they supposed to do? Like reveal it like the day afterwards?
Are they supposed to go, "Hey player, did you figure out who the killer is at this point?" Yes. All right, we're gonna skip all of this then.
We're gonna skip every single Akechi scene.
You know who it is. We got you.
No.
To also know he's the killer, acting like they don't.
No, they don't. They only discussed it after the festival, which is right after he joined, which was right before Side's Palace. This he did not. They did not know. It was all assumptions between Joker and Morgana,
which will just make for another 60 hours of frustrating narrative. You're just not meant to think too hard about this, I suppose. Another thing that happens.
Not to. What? But you said it was convoluted.
Okay.
So we need to figure out all the pieces of the plan in order for it to work.
Why is the narrative frustrating? Because they talk to him like they don't know he's the killer. Even though they, A, do not know that he's the killer at that point, and B, even if they did, it's a way to lower his guard and make him not realize they know he's the killer so he could just keep going through his... As opposed to them going, "Hey, you're the killer," with no proof and no way to catch him.
And also, they need to figure out exactly, by him going onto their team, they figure out what his powers are, what his abilities are, and thus figure out a better way to defeat him if they ever need to. Makes sense.
In this team reunion is that Sojiro offers to close the shop to let you use Leblanc's downstairs for the meeting place, since you won't make much progress if people can hear you from downstairs, and everyone takes him up on this offer. This is a scene that would have been touching if you only hadn't been using Joker's room as the meeting place long before this, and the fact that we know from when Anne makes Futaba wear a swimsuit that people talking on the second floor of Leblanc can be heard perfectly fine from downstairs. So if someone had been in the shop...
Wow, that is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Leblanc can be heard perfectly fine from downstairs, so if someone had been in the shop during any of those meetings, they would have already heard about the Phantom Thieves anyway. Not to mention the fact that Leblanc is always empty too, with at most 2 people at the shop at any given time. Finally, there's one massive thing about this meeting that breaks my brain when I try to think about it, probably because mine is not as big as the hulking gray matter of the Persona 5 writers. And that's how exactly Sai's personality is handled during all of this. In the meeting, Sai vows to do everything she can to assist you and claims that you saved her after all, and she also apologizes for Futaba for everything she's put her through before, and claims that she couldn't see past her achievements, finally saying that she wasn't herself after all. Hey, doesn't that sound familiar? A character with a warped worldview who was only interested in things so long as they benefited them and actively insulted those closest to her, suddenly realizing that she was wrong, apologized, and attempts to atone for their actions? Sounds like someone had a change of heart. But this doesn't fit with the explanation of...
Yes, she had her own change of heart. They didn't need to actually steal her heart to change it. Just like Mishima that we've seen before.
And also, you're telling her the story of all this stuff, how you change people's hearts, all this stuff, and goes, Akechi is evil. And then Akechi comes in and shoots him to death. And she goes, okay, everything that you've said is correct. I was wrong to single-handedly chase after the Phantom Thieves. Y'all were doing good.
Fit with the explanation of events we were given before. Joker gets captured on 11/19 evening, and the interrogation with Sai happens on 11/20 during the daytime, and that's when Akechi is lured into Sai's palace and he shoots the fake Joker. We know from every other palace that as soon as the treasure is stolen, the palace starts to fall apart, and it only takes minutes before everything is destroyed. So when the Phantom Thieves made a fake treasure to fool Akechi, they couldn't have also have taken the real treasure, otherwise the palace wouldn't be present for their plan later. So either they did take the treasure and the palace somehow didn't disappear until 12 hours later, or they never took Sai's treasure and she just changed her attitude completely without them having to use their magic powers.
100%.
Ourselves in a similar situation.
Yes.
Where the entire basis of the change of heart is brought into question here. The only thing
what do you
we
mean?
know for sure is that the Phantom Thieves beat up Sai's shadow before leaving the palace.
Yep.
So if they didn't take the treasure, then the only thing necessary to change a heart is beating up the palace.
No, she had her own change of heart through the actions she personally did and the things she saw and learned.
Everything that he said was correct. Your sister is a Phantom Thief. They are doing things to change the world for the better.
It's not like in these people's parents that are just like, we're selling nude pics of our daughter or beating a kid or blackmailing a teacher. They're not going to be changed through a conversation.
I remember them saying something effective like they were trying to get Kanashiro for a very long time, but they never had anything on him where they couldn't get him. Mm-hmm. And then he just walks into the prison and goes, I did it. And then they got him. So they were just like, how did they do that? And then once you realize, oh, they're doing really, really good things, you change your perception. That's all it is.
There are some people that are not going to be changed. Their perception is not going to be changed, and their heart is not going to be changed through you just talking to them and them realizing that they were wrong or bad. Sai realizes she was wrong. So she changed herself. This is the thing. You're acting like people can't change based on what's going on around them. You're acting like the only way for people to change in this game is if their heart is changed. When we have social links where people change and grow without needing to go to mementos or a palace. Including many members in our own group.
And it's not like she was malicious or anything. She was just single-mindedly driven about her own goal. And then once you go, okay, that goal, you stop that goal, she changes. It's simple.
Like they do with Memento's targets. And taking the treasure has been pointless ever since the start, meaning that Morgana was...
It has not. You're only perceiving this because you don't believe people can change in this game without their treasure being taken or a boss being beaten. Even though Mishima did not get fought.
wrong about the heart-changing process. The only other option here is that the Phantom Thieves didn't take Sai's treasure and that beating her up didn't change her heart, meaning that her change of heart was caused entirely by Joker's heartfelt confession about everything that happened until that point.
Yes.
Sai seems to have already changed by the time her conversation with Joker ends. Since you're confidant with her as at max rank, she agrees to help you with your plan by showing Akechi your phone.
Yes, because she, based upon her research and everything that you've told you, oh, that makes sense.
Drives you home after seeing Futaba's messages. Now, if this is what actually happened, then that means that you managed to change Sai's heart with only facts and logic, and didn't use
Or she changed her own heart!
Oh my goodness.
your supernatural powers at all. It also means that if someone changes their attitude and becomes a good person without having their treasure stolen, their palace remains. So it stands to...
She was never a bad person.
She had a warped perception.
That's all.
reason that their shadow would still exist as well. So why wouldn't they just turn back to being a bad person because the palace still exists and the shadow are the spawn of the warped desires of the real...
When you showed her your phone, you saw what her cognition was. Now, the place didn't change it to her palace anymore. It wasn't a casino or anything. It was still the courthouse with Joker in there.
Yep.
That's what her palace is now. Not this warped casino with a bunch of enemies.
But he could have explained that if he had explained the whole plan, but he just decided not to for some reason.
Person, and because these things are the spawn
I
of
love
the
her
warped
big
desires, if those desires go away, whether it be supernatural or not, why wouldn't those things disappear as well? So that means you can change a person's heart outside of mementos.
They changed their own heart. Mishima changed his own heart. Sai changed her own heart.
It's possible.
As shown in the game.
And that the entire time you've been changing hearts, whether it be the requests given to you by Mishima or in events in S-Links, it's been because your crew is being lazy and is taking...
Oh my.
Yeah, that's why.
Yep. 100%.
Because the people blackmailing the teacher with sex photos is not going to have their heart changed by you going, hey, don't do that. Is that possible?
You would have to make them change their perception or of something. And how do you make these two change their perception and thus change themselves? Show them that, hey, she's a good teacher. Look, oh, she is a good teacher. Well, we'll stop blackmailing her. What?
The easy way out, with very few exceptions. We are never shown Sai's treasure, so it's never truly revealed if you did change her heart or not.
No.
But
No.
if you did...
They say
You
we
did-
did
you
not
didn't.
take
You
your
didn't.
treasure.
Stop going if you did and if this happened if you didn't. So stop theorizing. It didn't happen.
breaks every pre-established rule about
Okay,
palaces.
good thing they didn't take her treasure then, because it doesn't break the rules.
If they didn't, then it also opens a massive can of worms about the morality of how they've been using their power.
No, it doesn't. This person is blackmailing the entire underworld of Japan. How are we going to change him? Oh, we can't through talking? Let's take his heart and force the change.
As opposed to just a lady who's too work-driven to see things around her and yells at her little sister. That's it. No crimes. Nothing illegal. Just being a little crabby.
Whereas up until now,
God, fuck this game.
the meeting continues.
Okay, yeah, that's a big problem.
Akechi was working for the politician Shido, and he's the one behind all of the killings and framing you. His goal is apparently to set himself up to be the next prime minister, and you find out that he has a palace, and it's located in the Diet Building. Hey, post-production Cvit here. Apparently it's pronounced...
Pause! You can do this? Oh, apparently it's pronounced Diet as opposed to Okamura? As opposed to Ann? Homie! Why this? Why? This is baffling!
Where
diet, but since English doesn't have umlauts or any accents, it's spelled like diet, and since this is a government system only used by Germany and Japan, and the game in English pronounces it as diet, I had no idea that I was pronouncing it wrong, and I'm not going back to change all of the audio of me pronouncing it wrong up until now, but now you know. And here's a little world fact for you.
They also discuss how they're going to reveal that Joker isn't really dead to get back at them. The game goes all in on revealing everything about Akechi and Shido at this point. They go into every single detail of how they met each other, the plans that they've made to rise in popularity, and how everything worked itself out in their favor involving the Phantom Thieves.
Pause. Yeah, I didn't like that scene.
Yeah.
That is an as you know scene, and I hate as you know.
Yeah. Two people that know the information just expositing at each other to go, yes, I know, and so do you.
As you know, we met when we were younger, and no.
More. This is a pretty stupid scene. Both of these characters
It's not stupid, it's just not good.
Yeah.
are basically recapping their life stories to each other and going into long explanations about things they both already know and would never actually.
Okay, this is something else though. You would have hated it if they said this to the Phantom Thieves, because you would have went, why are you expositing and telling your whole life story to your enemies?
Yeah, I think it still could have just been done better. Like Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain does it when the killer is revealed. He's just sort of burning the things that that would convict him, and then it flashes back to why that thing is important and recontextualizing everything. Yeah, it could have been done better. Like I said, I don't like this scene. But there are certain things that make sense in this scene. Like he was, as he's fast forwarding it, Shido goes, that researcher, and he goes, Wakaba Ishiga was it? So they haven't talked about it too much. So, yeah.
Publicly. The only reason this scene exists is to provide an exposition dump about the two.
Absolutely.
That's very out of character for these two supposed geniuses who have been setting up all of this for years to stand there repeating things they both know at each other.
Yeah.
Now, I disagree with that. That is because a lot of time they're both super egomaniacs. So just going, look how smart we are to each other. I can understand them doing that. Even if I personally don't like it, I can understand them going, look at our brilliant plan.
Big brain boys.
This sort of thing isn't uncommon in media, but that doesn't make it any better. Afterwards, we get a short conversation with Morgana at home, where he has an incredible line.
They have to understand why. They have to explain exactly what the pot of greed does every single time that they use it.
Yeah, that pot of greed stuff is.
Yeah, that's silly.
Afterwards, we get a short conversation with Morgana at home, where he has an incredible line saying that he doesn't care what happens to Shido immediately after the meeting where they all agree to take revenge on him for what he's done to you. If you thought the section about their great plan was done, get ready, because there's still one more part which you...
Why didn't you show what he said after that?
Yeah. Because it probably breaks what
he wants to
said.
yeah.
No,
can optionally
it's
talk
an
to
agenda.
Morgana and Futaba
It's
to
an
learn more
agenda.
about this very solid plan. When talking to Morgana, he mentions that when Akechi shot the fake Joker to death, your relationship with Akechi unexpectedly grew stronger, even though Akechi was talking to the fake you at this time. He finishes off by saying that he doesn't know what Akechi said to that version of you, but you should still make use of this. Now we get to ask even more questions about how Morgana works. Great! So apparently Morgana knows when your bonds with Akechi went from 7 to 8 when he shot the fake you to death, which means that Morgana knows about your confidant, which means that they're not just abstract game mechanics that represent closeness between characters, but they're actual literal numeric values of your friendship that can be measured in world by Morgana.
Not numeric. He didn't say that. He said it grew. We already know that the confidants are affecting how Joker perceives things because Caroline, Justine, and Igor says this.
Yeah, they have tangible proof of you getting stronger
They
bonds.
say grow your bonds and they will grow your persona stronger. Yeah, no. And I believe...
So people within that world, they probably do know. And Morgana is a part of that world, so he probably can feel that bond growing.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. But you're just adding numeric. Like, no, he never said 7 to 8. He said it grew.
Does this mean that Morgana actually knows about all your other confidants too? If he does,
Probably.
then why is he constantly stopping you from doing things at night when he knows you could go and raise your confidants to become stronger? And what the hell does he mean?
It's just a game mechanic, dude.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Morgana there saying, hey, we need to go to sleep so we could figure out things tomorrow, you need a good night's sleep, it would have just been the game going, okay, you got to end it. Just like in P3 and P4. It's just like, oh, you're too tired. Oh, we need to do this. You can't study tonight because you need to go do this.
It's not like Morgana knows that there's a time limit or anything that they need to get things done by, like, by December, we need to change everything. No, it's all just, hey, we need to figure out exactly what we need to do with Kanashiro. Go to sleep. That's all. No, it's not a big deal.
When he says that you should make use of what Akechi said to you when he...
No, that's not what he said. He said, your bond grew stronger. I don't know exactly what he said, but we should make use of this. Does that mean we should make use of what he said, or we should make use of your bond growing stronger?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he said, and even Joker doesn't know what he said. You know, since it's not the same fucking Joker. But your bond with him went up...
Wait, wasn't Joker in the same room?
Yeah. He was.
It was just
It's
a
not the same
perception
Joker,
of...
but...
You can also talk to Futaba here and have her explain some more details of the plan. And as you can guess, there's inconsistencies here too. Futaba actually asks if you want to keep listening to the explanation 4 times. As
Pause. No. She goes, here is a part of the plan. Do you want to keep going with the plan? In case you didn't fully understand the convoluted plan, as you said, here is Futaba taking it step by step, every single thing that they did. Everything that they didn't have time to go, here is our giant master plan. She's explaining it in great detail.
Developers were saying, no, please don't keep going. We didn't actually think this through.
No, that's not how it goes. Did you understand it? Oh, I didn't understand this part. I
didn't understand the beginning, and I understood everything up until the end, but what about this? Okay, do you want me to keep going? No, that's all it is.
That the reason we got cutscenes of all the Phantom Thieves being really shocked when hearing about Joker's death wasn't to fake out the player and make them think that Joker died, but rather because Shido may have had people watching them, and if they realized what the plan was, they would have killed you immediately, so they couldn't slip up even once. Both of these things are contradictory to what actually happened though, because in the cutscene, Ryuji clearly smiles and says,
smiles to who? He doesn't say anything, he thinks it! And he's smiling! At that point, he was in front of a shoe shop, where he was looking at shoes, shopping, and a TV came on. I think he might have been walking home. But whatever, he smiles. That's all. Are you telling me that a government employee is going to be turning his head and looking at her, hey, why'd you smile? What?
The news. And I'd like to believe that even if he is an idiot most of the time, he wouldn't make such a mistake that he knew would get his best...
You're ing me! And then he smiles and his lips don't move!
In talking about Joker being killed, Shido's plan was to always kill Joker after capturing him. There was never any version of events in which they were going to let Joker live. Akechi goes to the interrogation room as soon as he can to murder him, shown by Sai's time with Joker being limited until Akechi got there. And the first thing he does upon entering the room is taking the guard's gun and shooting both him and Joker. He couldn't have been killed any faster, so it's weird that Futaba thinks they would have somehow sped up Joker's murder if they slipped up knowing he was alive. There's actually a second problem with this, and that's the fact that by the time they got the news of Joker being dead...
Oh, what's that? The fiance's in there?
Oh, wow.
She had already shot him, so they didn't actually have to pretend that the suicide news was a real shock, since by the time that happened, Joker would have already been dead. I think what the game is actually trying to say here is that if they slipped up and revealed that they knew Joker was safe, Shido would have known that he was still alive and would have doubled down on going after the members of the Phantom Thieves.
That's what Futaba
says
said.
Straight up wrong. So I guess this is just a translation error, and as I said before,
No,
you understood it.
That's what she said. And press play where he
does slip up and react anyways, so all of their acting was for nothing.
React with a smile when there's nobody around while he's facing a screen. Yeah, he slips up.
It's finally done, we can move on to the final target, Shido. The transition from targeting Sai to Shido is probably the best in the game, since going from the corrupt police force to a politician who is commanding them is a logical next step, instead of them randomly being contacted by the exact right person who can push the story forward. The Phantom Thieves wait.
How would Alibaba push the... How did she push the story forward? How did Futaba push the story forward?
Yeah, I guess... the whole plan wouldn't have worked without Futaba.
No, absolutely. But that doesn't push the story forward. It's just that she without her, it wouldn't have worked later on. But what he's saying is they got contacted by the person that allowed the story to be pushed forward. But in that moment, the story did not get pushed forward. In fact, it stands still to go save Futaba.
Yeah. And it stands to reason that Futaba, after seeing 3 people's hearts get definitively changed, she goes, maybe they can help me as well. And she contacts them with her master hacker scene. I always wish you could have that costume for Joker with the hood up. Anytime anybody can wear a hood, it's instantly better.
It's no time
and I
trying
love
to find
that.
out what Shido's palace is and decide to meet in front of the Diet building while they make guesses. And they bring Joker along. I guess they're not worried anymore about the people Shido has watching them that Futaba mentioned in her explanation of the plan.
Pause. He's disguised. Not a great disguise, but somebody walking by.
It's the Marvel disguise.
Somebody walking by behind him to the side of him, they wouldn't instantly recognize him as Joker. They would have to see his face, but his hood is on. It's not a great disguise, but if he's walking around with a freaking afro wig, it'd be even more standoffish.
In front of the place most closely connected to Shido in broad daylight, even though he knows all of their identities.
It's
he must
It looks like the sun is going down. It looks like it's around 6 to 7 p.m. Not broad daylight exactly. Shido should have been gone home by now, as a bunch of business people are walking home. This looks to be around time that people go home, and thus there would be less people.
not care about them suspiciously meeting up with a hooded figure there. He definitely seems like the type of person to let something like that go unexplored after having just asked Akechi if they should be killed as well. Right. You definitely expect me to believe this.
Pause. So he's looking out of his window and seeing them gathered around there? I believe in this exact scene, An goes up to somebody and goes, hey, I'm doing this. Terribly sorry. Anne goes up to somebody and goes, I'm doing a school report. Please tell me about Shido. Oh, maybe that's why they're there. In their school uniforms.
And the only two people that would see this group of students and go, what the is going on? Why are they here? Are Shido himself and Akechi. Nobody else knows anything about what they're doing. So unless Shido himself sees them, or Akechi himself sees them,
to meet Leblanc the next day.
I guess they could have asked the guards to look out for a group of students.
Yeah.
They should have just had Futaba randomly find the right words
Oh
by
my
herself
goodness.
off screen like she did for the space station again. That seemed to work well the last
Dude.
time.
Shut up. It's explained. It makes sense.
Hey! Did they go to that place and go, hey, I'm writing a book report, tell me about Shido, so they could maybe figure out what the words they need to say are?